Okay, so so we've got our template for creating this stuff. So basically the first thing I'm going to do, this one, I'm still, like, there's no hard and fast rule on this, but I'm probably just going to put this, where did I put the other one? I'll put this wherever that bug is.
Man, this right here is so useful.
What?
Being able to search through every file and just look for like specific.
Yeah.
Because trying to figure out where a specific attribute of the GUI is, just scanning through files would be impossible. Like manually going through.
Okay. Oh, cool. I've got a widgets help, and that's where I put the report bug dialog, and so I can just make another one that's like request feature dialog. So I've already got sort of a function that I'm using that has a bunch of nice features in it that is just the LJ dialog. And basically the rest of this stuff, you can just kind of copy and paste a lot of this stuff. And that. Request a feature.
Move your board under the desk. I can scoot under. Oh, it's got its own stand. Wow, I thought it was leaned up against something.
Okay. So for this, it's going to be, so everything where there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to choose from is going to be like a drop-down menu. We could probably do this as a grid though.
A finite list. Yeah, you could do like a table or something.
Yeah, like ish.
I'm still not GUI language.
Yeah, so table really specifically means like an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
Like that's exactly what a table is, but you can do a lot of stuff within it.
So grid is more like
grid is how you're laying out
position,
different widgets.
position.
Yep.
Position. Yeah.
And I like to do a grid on a lot of this kind of stuff. So we're just gonna do that.
It gives it order, organization.
It keeps them all lined up.
Yeah.
Because another way you can do it is make a row and then just put each widget in the row and then make a list of rows. So anyway, we're going to start out with a grid. And then a lot of times what I'll do is go through and make all my labels at once. So I need to do this. This is going to help too. All right. So label. And we also are probably going to have a little hint, like hints, so that we can kind of remember this stuff. But we can do that in a second. So label. And
like text that'll be in that label before you type in it or something.
Yeah.
Just to remind you.
Yeah, pilot it before you look at that. And then now you have to get your browser.
So typically when I'm doing GUI stuff, I also put, so there's a QLabel, so I typically put the label, the name in the, in the name.
Variable name,
Yeah. So
that's just good organization, good naming of your variables, so you remember what's what.
So I'm just going to put a bunch of those out, and then we've got language.
Bless you.
Deliverable. code location. Should I have one for repo as well? I mean, we're always, right now, we're all in the same repo, but not really, because you do stuff in a different repo.
Isn't that gonna be, wouldn't that just be code location though, the repo?
You can derive it from it.
Yeah.
Delivery method, requirements. How I'm going to do some of this stuff, but we'll figure it out. Alright, so if I do this,
They get credit and
description.
Those numbers, are they like X coordinate, Y coordinate? And they're X coordinate, Y coordinate in the grid itself, not like on the window? Yeah. Okay, now I'm seeing how it works. So are you just gonna increment each one by like 1? Like it's the first piece, blah blah blah, or 0 0, then 1 1, or 0 0 0 1, 1 0 1 1. Gotcha.
So it's really more like row and column.
Yeah, in the grid, because I mean a grid by itself, it's not going to be like specific like pixel in the grid where it is. It's just like box setup.
Pretty easy for this one. Yeah. That's weird, this is not on freaking one second.
Now we're probably going to have to change this a bit, but alright, so this should show us something, and it'll just give us a place to start. I usually kind of try to check it right after I've got a basic layout,
set up the
just so that I can make sure that nothing's breaking.
Now you got to find where you call the report bug and just add report help.
Yeah, so So I'm kind of going backwards, which is probably going to be confusing to people, but this is the function that'll execute it, and then we actually need to import it so that we have it. There we go. So now I just have to make sure that there's buttons for it. So in here, there's a report bug. I'm gonna make the same thing, but request feature. And now I have to connect it to the method that I just made. So I'll define this one again, and put it right next to that. And then we'll connect it right here. Okay. So in theory, this should all work and something should launch, which is kind of cool because we've only been going for a few minutes. So tool request feature. There we go. It is not pretty at the moment, but it's like we can kind of see the thing shaping up.
Like this.
So if I go back here, first I need to figure out like software. That's why.
That is dull, make another bit.
You see how there's this space there?
Yeah.
It's because I did all my copying pasting and I
I
didn't
forgot
fix
that.
this.
Change that. Yeah.
And then I don't even have that in there, so we need to add that.
You still have another label software right below that.
Oh, weird. Okay, so we got description, software, deliverable, code location, delivery method, requirements, expected results, results. Okay, this should work. I can just launch it again. That's it. There we go. Okay, so now what we got to do is figure out how we want them to select it. So for the description, that almost wants to be, that wants to be sort of a text box because it needs to be big enough that I can put a decent description in there, which is going to necessitate some other ways of handling this. So I'm going to come back to the description in a second because I don't want to, I can't do the description in a grid. Because it's going to not fill the space properly. So we're going to separate that. I just need a combo box for the software. Let's see. And the language. I don't have language in here, do I? I know I'm going to have to take that first thing out, so I can just hide it for now. Alright, so I used to do these like all one chunk at a time, but it's just, I make so many GUIs now that I kind of do different widgets at once, because it's easier to copy and paste it. Combo boxes. So.
Well, my thought would be start with the first item and just make the text box immediately, but laying it out in a grid like you did.
For some reason, this is something that I like doing now. I used to do it like one thing at a time, but my code ended up bigger.
Well,
so
you can always, you lay it out and then add the features after that, as long as you have the layout you want.
Yeah.
Clean it up as you go.
We're also going to need a regular layout. I'm just going to make that right now. So this gives me a vertical thing that I can slot things into. So my layout is going to be that. And then I need to add the grid layout. It's like that. Combo software equals qt widgets dot nope, actually. So I've got a combo box thing that is a custom one that I use a lot, and I'm going to put that in here. And that.
So, what exactly is combo box? Is combo box, I'm sorry, does that imply a drop down or is that
Yeah,
like
it's
a
a drop
layout
down.
specific thing? Alright.
I have the board if you can grab that.
So I'm just going to take this software list and stick it in. And I just need to stick this stuff.
Okay. Cool. Figure that one out a little bit.
Yeah, that one's in.
I need one of those right angle drills.
This is going to end up in the config, but I always start by just doing it in here to get it working.
Mm-hmm. So later on in the config, you'll do like a software list, and then here you'll just call a config and call a software list.
Yep. Because who knows, this might be useful somewhere. But I usually do it in here first, and then if I need it in the config, I put it in there.
Right. Deal with that stuff later.
Yep. Okay, so we got a software list. Let me just get the language list in here, because we're going to be dealing with that too. And we're just going to put 2.7 in there to clarify. Eventually, we're going to have to do a bunch of Python 3 tasks when everybody changes over to Python 3.
So are they like, what's it called? Deprecating 2.7?
2.7 is going to get deprecated this year.
Yeah.
Which is going to have ripples in the visual effects community. All right, so
I don't
language.
understand why they wouldn't just keep it around. I mean,
Well, they're just not supporting it anymore. So
okay.
it still exists. So who knows if people may not go off of
Integrate.
it for a while.
So what will it take away when they deprecate it? Like what kind of stuff could you not do with 2.7 anymore? Like they just won't help you anymore?
Yeah.
Their documentation, I'm sure, will still be somewhere.
Yeah. They're just not supporting it anymore.
Right.
Okay, so. All right. What we need to do for deliverable? This is kind of crazy, dude. I'm kind of happy about this. This is super cool.
Watching you do this is so much more helpful than like any other way probably of learning.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
totally, dude. And the other thing, this is the way that I learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So videos on this stuff is good, but like sometimes it takes a lot of inertia to actually watch a video.
Well, and a lot of design ideas are like intuitive to a person. You can't, at least from my experience, it's hard to teach someone how to design something to make it pleasing to the eye.
Yeah. That is true. But like, you're gonna watch me, who knows what I end up with when this is over.
Right.
Like ideally, if you guys ever did a design, I would design it out in Adobe XD.
And then say, just make this.
And then just say,
exist.
make this.
Yeah.
So it would be, because I'm gonna, technically it might be faster if I did that, but whatever.
Well, and I mean, if Lumbermill as a whole needs to have a uniform design scheme, and that needs to come from you, because if we start throwing in our interpretations of what we want something to
Yeah.
look like, it's going to get all. It'll be all
Well,
over
then
the
you
place.
get into like, how do I teach you how to be a designer?
Right.
And that's a whole different thing.
That's not what we're here for right now.
Yeah. we got a bunch of these. This is sweet. What's cool on this stuff though is like you can get, it doesn't take long to get a GUI together that's actually useful. Like we're gonna have this thing working, and then we can just make a task of how do I make a task out of this, which is usually what you guys will get from me. So.
Which even that task, that won't be too hard. It's just passing some stuff into.
Yep. Combos. So what's kind of interesting, oh man, code location would be so sweet to just have like a
hot link or something?
No, I mean, we're in Lumbermill.
Oh,
you
yeah.
just parse the tree and present you with a tree, and I can just click which file it's in.
That's true. Oh, and so then you could just jump right to it.
It'd be so sweet.
That would be really cool. That would be.
Anyways. Okay, so now we just got to add all this junk. So.
So a combo box, that is specifically like it's going to be a drop down?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this advanced combo box is a drop down that has like the Google autofill thing on it.
Ooh, okay.
So it's like a custom one that I made.
So you you can like type in a word and it'll select, okay.
So I like to use that for almost everything.
So is that a built-in or that's something you implemented? Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what this looks like. Who knows, it might have errors. Okay, sweet. Dude, check this out. This is kick-ass. So,
wow, nice. Nice.
This is cool.
And it's been what, like 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Send a Slack channel, send a GitHub. And I'm sure you can set like a default width of this window, right?
Yeah. Wow. This is cool. And what's cool is we spent all of our time designing this.
Doing the design aspect.
We just did that in a OneNote document.
Yeah.
And all I'm trying to do is present that in a real GUI. So
that's what's so helpful when you already have a bunch of code in here building these layouts. You literally just go through and you're like, okay, what can I copy that I've already done?
Yeah.
And then just paste it and change a few variables around instead of typing every line.
Yeah, exactly. And so what we got to do here though is like this grid works really well for these things with the combo boxes, but like code location. Actually, I'm going to put a line edit in for that.
And line edit is.
We'll see.
Because I remember seeing stuff about line edit and dealing with a line edit.
So now we got a line edit right there.
Okay, so
That's
just,
just-
that can only be one line though, it's not gonna like,
Yeah.
yeah. So like a text box is a different
Mhm.
widget, alright, I got you.
And then I'm gonna add a blank thing to every one of these things so that they all come up blank. And then you just are gonna type in what you want. So.
So you make the first line empty, so then that's where you go type in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now when I do this software, it's like smidge.
Oh, nice.
What's tricky though, we might need a second software. And I can't do that with a comma separation, so I might have to figure out a way to do that. I could add a plus button here on software.
I was gonna say you could do like the plus.
Yeah, dude, this is kicking ass. Look at that. The little deliverable command, code location, and for now I can just type it out.
in, yeah.
Delivery method, send to Slack channel. Cool. So
That was fast.
that's really cool. So now we also need to, let's start doing the custom ones. So the grid works really well for these. Requirements and expected results. I don't know what I'm gonna do for that. Maybe just align it with comma separated stuff. That'd be fine, right?
For the requirements?
Although I kind of want to see it this way.
It's the design that you have over there is nice. Like the bullet points. I mean, but this is also, you're just inputting the information. The bullet points will show up
You can format this however you want on the back end.
using the back end, right?
Now, to make it nice for the user, I probably do want it to look like this, but sometimes you're just like, well, shucks, if I just did line edits for this and just do comma separation, then we would have this feature done today.
Yeah,
Whereas like it'll take a little bit longer to make it nicer.
right.
But like, yeah, I don't know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do the task description. Actually, I could do that with the line edit too. This is interesting. I just need it to be wider is all.
And you could probably, I'm sure you can set that
Yeah.
in the beginning.
So dot set width, and we'll just do like 400. See what that looks like. Would it get?
It's just sitting there, what?
Okay. Yeah, let's do like 600. Cool.
I'm looking into API calls to create a task in GitHub, and I
Cool.
think it should be like doable.
Awesome.
It just seems like it's probably specific to the project.
Yeah. Because really, probably what you're going to have to do is create an HTML to format it this way based off the information I give you.
Okay.
So,
And so I'll just send them, it'll just be a call to add the issue in HTML format. Yeah.
I think.
Create an issue. Might take some toying around because this is issues for repo based, not project based. Maybe there's a to-do.
So this is going to get us like something really quick and dirty, but it won't be ideal.
But it'll be usable.
But it'll be usable for us, and we may not have to change it until January. Because if I'm the only one making them
Yeah.
at first, like
It
I
doesn't-
can just make sure I do it right. Resources is interesting because I want that to be a little bit more robust. Okay. Choose requirements, expected results. Okay. So, I mean, technically this will work. It's really ugly.
But you get the information in.
So like one thing that I might just play with, like get things that relate to each other on the same line. So like software and language, maybe we want those on the same line.
You probably also will need like a submit button or something that
Yeah,
connects the back end.
yeah, good point. Okay, and then really what I want is that maybe be longer.
Yeah.
Where did the lit 1, 3? Wait, 1, 2, 2. Software, language, deliverable. Delivery method could go with deliverable. 3, 3. Yeah, eventually I'm probably going to want just this to be one long line, and then this is a little bit easier to digest. It doesn't feel like I'm filling out a million things. Because I can just go like this, Maya, Python, I don't even remember what these are. Oh, look at this. This is so cool. This is cool. Wow, this is really cool. Okay. Yeah, I would want to drop down for this or something. But it would only happen if I have updated function, basically. Or GUI, or class, or file.
What about new function? You want them a location to put it in?
Yeah. So, this is sweet.
So maybe you could say like code location doesn't even, I mean this might be too much, but code location doesn't appear unless you select one of the
Yeah,
ones.
that's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
So, like this, we'd have a show code location.
Yeah.
And then we just pull whatever the current setting for that is. So like, if, so we also need that to be self. So, deliverable, we're probably gonna all have to be self eventually. So which one is that? There we go, deliverable list.
So these are at 32. So if they're
So why did you have to
high,
attach self to that?
drop it down.
So I can do this.
Oh, so you can just automatically call it from an outside function?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it was just attached to that one function you had before.
Oh, that's not the other one.
That's the same one, yeah. That's 32 as well. That one might
Sorry,
be.
you have to accommodate for what if you challenge versus.
No worries. Yeah, we'll go down to like 27. Not a problem at all.
Otherwise, I have to rechange the step ladder.
There's always stuff going on in here.
So you need someone to hold it up?
No, I'll grab someone else, just because height issue, nothing personal.
Oh, are you lowering that?
No, she, we're putting one in her office, and she
Oh,
wants to
okay.
be able to reach the top of it.
That makes sense.
She's a little bit shorter, so.
Yeah.
These are just the standard height, and then I can know how much to drop it down for her.
So, sorry, I wasn't even paying attention.
Uh-huh.
I don't have enough room to stick a poster in here.
Gotcha.
How hard is it to move it over?
Pretty hard, I'd have to get new anchors.
Let's not worry about it for now.
We could get magnets and put it on top above, or maybe over that side, but.
Get 2 magnets.
No, movie
One on
poster's too big to do either of those. This would be the only spot I could fit it.
Gotcha.
But maybe I can find a smaller one or something.
Put it up
We
on the
might be able
gas.
to shift it down some just on the railing, and then redo the screws, I'll just have to get new screws, but.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I was engrossed and I wasn't paying attention.
No worries.
But it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it for now until I bring the thing in. All right. So we just have to. All right. So command is not going to be a thing. None of these. Update function GUI class file. Okay. If it's in that, then self-dot. All of these need to be that too. Location. Whoa. And then we're probably going to hide those by default. I usually do all of that down here. Self-dot. Okay, so now how do we get that to run so that it always does the right thing? Because basically when we change this, we want this thing to be show or hide, right?
Show or hide, yeah.
So we
So-
just connect that function to this.
Yeah.
So do that through here. Dot. Is it index changed? Current index changed.
Man, that's nice to have that somewhere in your code so you don't have to go looking through any documentation or anything.
Connect it to show location. And what's nice is just connecting this, because we're starting out with it blank.
This should be fine
This should
because
just be fine.
and show code location does the checking of
Yep.
whether it's the right one or not.
Yeah. So, oh, we need to run it once because blank isn't in there. So if I do that, it'll hide it.
Right.
If I do that, it'll hide it. If I do that, it'll show it.
So you need it hidden by default.
Yeah. So then what I do is just go like this. Because I could do it where I hide those things by default, but I kind of like to keep, if I'm doing hide and show, I don't want to duplicate it somewhere. So if I
Right.
just run that once, it'll just hide it.
Automatically hide it because the option won't be there.
Yep. See?
Nice. Nice.
All right. So
That was a way easier process than I thought it would be to get that like
Yeah.
ability in there. It was not too tricky at all.
Well, and this has also been, after a lot of time doing this, I've tried this a lot less effective ways.
Okay, yeah.
So I kind of know how to do it the fastest, and
Right.
with the least amount of code now.
Right.
I've been doing it for a while. Okay, so already this is going to drive me crazy that this is like stopping right there, but with a grid you're limited on that. So what I'm going to have to do is make a row for it.
Make it out of the grid.
Yep,
So it won't be a part of that grid layout. It'll be just a first thing added to the layout.
exactly.
Got you.
But I have to make a new layout for that.
So these start at window level, right? To get it to pop up, that's a window, and then the layout is attached to the window.
And you have as many layouts as you want within the
Right.
layout. And you have multiple layouts within each layout.
So you could have multiple grids that have different shapes or
So
whatever.
I'm making a QHBoxLayout right now.
Which is just a vertical, or not a vertical, a
It's
horizontal. Yeah.
And so now I just got to add these widgets to it.
Now you add the widget.
So I'm going to do the label description, and then I'm going to do description. Okay. So then I just have to add this to the actual layout. Layout. Okay.
I want to delete the other ones you have for description.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now that looks the right way.
Nice. Do you think you're going to want that to be more vertical too? Like start it off with the
Maybe a
ability for
few.
2 lines, because you gave yourself a 140 character
Yeah.
limit.
And so that might only fit in there too, though.
You think so?
I
140?
don't know how much the 140 is. We have to write code for that. Though.
Yeah, okay.
So that gets a little bit tricky because basically you could do a few different things like
So you can't just tell the HBox to have a specific like multi-line height or something. There's no.
no, you just wouldn't do a line edit. Line edit is for one line.
Oh, okay. And the
You
other
do a
one,
text box.
text box starts with like
You can, and then you just control how big you want it.
right.
But
Oh, you're talking about implementing checking that.
checking for the 140 characters.
Got you.
Or just put it in there for now and just pass on it.
So this
Because
line.
honestly, it'll be hard this is so short
Yeah.
that it'd be great if I never have a description that's longer than that.
Right.
So
In a way, it's your way of limiting yourself automatically.
yeah, but I mean, I can do the text box eventually. I just don't know how to do that off the top of my head.
Yeah.
In an intelligent way. But I think you can even do text box that have like bullets and stuff like that.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
But that's fine for now because that encourages me to do a short description.
Right. So a line edit, by default, there's no limit. You just type forever. It'll just either follow what letters you're typing, or it'll disappear off into the void.
Yeah, it's just going to start moving that stuff.
Right. Following along the furthest. Yeah.
For now, I can just do that for requirements and expected results, and I'm just going to have a thing in here that says comma separated, blah blah blah. But then I can also put checks to make sure that my comma separated stuff is short.
Right. Because it'll have to be parsed and passed.
Yeah.
But
and
I
then
mean-
you basically have to format it so it looks like this in the task.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we can do bullets and all that stuff in the GitHub things, but I mean, you can use spaces and stars, so.
Yeah. I still have to find the specific ability to go into a project's to-do list and add it, because I found API documentation for issues, but it's issues for a repo.
Mm-hmm.
And where you have it is it's the project, the repo project, then to-do list level.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way, but. So what are you thinking about doing for resources?
I almost need a thing, it's almost like I need documentation as a header, videos as a header, and all of that. I don't know yet.
Because you could do
Let me
maybe.
work in these, and
Yeah.
then I'll do that.
Yeah.
Because I can just copy this, and then we'll make some of these layouts. Because I need 2 more of these layouts. I need 1 for requirements. Need 1 for results. And what's nice is if we want to change this to something else, we now have a layout for it. And it's separate from the grid. So, requirements. Oh, I just did the wrong one. Alright, let's see what this looks like. Oh, I still have it in the grid.
Just that moment of, nope, something's wrong.
Sweet. Resources needs to be pulled out of the grid as well. So, this is what I hate about this stuff though.
Yeah, it not being lined up.
Driving me crazy. Because I could do another grid of things that only have 2 slots.
That way they start.
This is a hell of a lot harder to line up. And then
if they're individual layouts and widgets.
So let's try that.
At that point, would you have to go like pixel by pixel, or?
I'll show you. We'll just see what this does. Like, I try to do as little like messing with like very specific widths and stuff as I can until I'm really done with it.
Yeah. In my experience of doing visual stuff with C++, that's basically most of your options.
Yeah.
Just disgusting stuff.
This should look a little bit better. This doesn't really have a home right now. Okay, cool, that's a lot better.
Nice.
Kind of. Still like I want all those to line up, but I can get there.
So if you drag it down to those.
That's a bug in my advanced combo box. I can limit that, which I should. That's funny. All right. Well, we're getting there.
It's getting better piece by piece.
Yep. And then I can put tips in here. What is the term for that though? I want to put like basically a default text, but
That sits in there like for you for what you need to put in.
yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna look that one up because I don't remember it off the top of my head. Set placeholder text, there we go. So, and placeholder text is short requirements. So let's see how that looks. Placeholder one word. I could just have example one. Yeah, I mean, this is ugly.
But this is really like helpful though, just to see the steps that you go through to build it, because I feel like this is like you've experienced doing this so much. This is a really efficient way of building it. It's kind of just like get yourself a layout before you even worry about what each box is going to be. Lay it out the way you want to see it in order, and then just add and tweak as you go.
Yeah. I mean, this is how I do it a lot. All right. So, yeah, okay. And then we can just put a little hint on there, less than 140 characters.
Oh, I'll use the restroom real quick.
if you're going to do visually complex where your brain's going from one layout to another, it gets kind of confusing. And so I'm going to try this. I think it's going to work really well. Now I'm going to make a visual separation right between this grid and this.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can give it like some little labels and stuff like that.
That's actually really nice.
Again, like I'm trying to think of how I can make it as nice as possible with as little work as possible.
So, would it be, this might be too much work, would it be possible though for the comma separated lists for you to start off with like one line edit and then a plus button, and each line edit is a
I do
bullet
that all the
point?
time. That's a lot harder.
Plus new bullet point, and you can just enter as many in, and each one will be a bullet point?
So like you could do that pretty easily. Well, not that easily.
Yeah, I mean this is basic functionality here. It's not like
So
necessary.
so like you can do that, and I can add a plus button in there,
Yeah.
or in here, and you just hit plus plus plus, and then it visually will sort of represent it. Or I can just comma separate it, hit enter, and then it just transforms it.
Transforms it, yeah.
And then I give you an edit button.
Because at least then you can see
You can see what it's going to look
the
like.
bullet point layout.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
again, this is just you using it right now, so it's not like
Yeah,
it's,
but I mean, this already looks a ton better. So, what I can do too.
functionality behind it too is important.
And stretch. I wonder what this is going to do. So if I started with a bigger height, then I'm going to get I just automatically get a stretch in between there. I can put like a specific width in there, but I've been doing it more this way lately because I have to mess with it less. So like, and then I'm just going to give myself a little label up here, so that kind of makes sense to me. What do we call that? Specs, details. Just gonna put details for a second, and then we'll see what happens. That's not bad. And then I can also I can use some of this stuff, like these type of things. So the way I do that is like this. Set property. And then I just gotta remember what this is called. So we can try title text. We'll try that one first, and then we can try ultra title and see which one we like.
Nice.
So that gives me like a little 8-bit thing. I'm probably just using ultra title.
So-
I use that for everything.
Are all of the stuff in that style sheet, are those all just various like 8-bit styled?
It's just all the stuff I'm using throughout here.
Right, consistent
Yeah.
style and font and stuff.
So, all right, that's cool.
That makes
And now it starts reflecting everything else that we're doing.
Right.
And so, And then maybe I have a label that's like task info after this.
Right.
This is all the stuff about the task.
Right.
It's kind of cool. We're getting there.
It's coming together.
Then we just want that right after this. This might separate it enough, but it'll be good. Let's see what that does. That's already better. I don't even need the space, but the space is kind of nice. So I could set it so that it's
like that.
It's got like 10 or 20 pixels in between.
Yeah.
And then what I can do then is I'll put the resources as a major break as well.
Oh yes, the resources will be its own section.
Yeah. This is kind of killer, dude. I'm really excited about this now.
This is going to be very, very helpful going forward.
Resources. And then here, look at that. So with resources, I can do the same thing I'm doing now. Like eventually we want the plus button thing. That's kind of the standard way of doing this, but it just takes a bit. And there's a lot of like, we got to connect the button and we got to do, that one is actually tricky.
No need for you to make it overly complex right now.
So what I need though is I need to be able to say that I could do comma separated links for all of this stuff.
Right, because the
Basically.
documentation's a link, your video is going to be posted somewhere, examples will be somewhere, everything's going to have a link.
Yep, except for images and attachments, which we're going to have to handle. Because
So-
they will have, yeah. So that's going to be the tricky part, is like images and attachments, we need to support it, but we need to then stick it somewhere. So it means we're going to, if there's an image and attachment, we've got to upload it to Amazon and then convert that to a link.
Pull it from that link in Amazon.
Yeah.
So what you're going to input in here though for an image would be the Amazon link to the image,
No.
Or just
what
the
I'm going to
image.
put input is
the file name.
the image. So I'm going to do exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm going to give you the location of the file on disk.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to be doing.
Okay, yeah. So it'll really basically just be the
So
file
in
name.
here, when I do this, I just pick the file and I record where that is.
So
When I do this, I actually create a thing on disk
that creates
and I
an
know where it
image.
is.
Right. So for an image, are you going to put both these options there, or
Yeah.
just do the attachment open file browser?
For attachments, I'm going to be doing this. So like screen grab, that. I guess attachments and images are kind of the same thing.
Right, because for an image you can just do it as an attachment.
Yeah.
Just open the file browser.
Yeah.
So to implement those though, that'll be a little bit more complex.
Yeah. But I mean, I have the code.
Right, it's already
So-
in there.
So, I mean, what? There might be some lunch. How long are you working today?
I've got class at 2, so
Okay,
at
so
most
pretty
maybe
much.
10 more minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
finish now. It doesn't.
So
Right.
let's try to get us to a point where we've got at least sort of a visual representation of where we ultimately want to take this. So I need a, oh, actually this gets really easy because I'm just going to be doing this stuff. So now I need a label, documentation.
Now, you're not going to need all of these every time. Like, you're not going to need every
Nope.
one of these every time.
Yeah, this is just all the options that I have.
Would you think about doing it to where maybe like you can like select which ones you need somehow and then they'll pop up? So you're not overcrowding the space, or?
I don't know that it's going to be a big deal. 'Cause
Right.
Right now, early on, I can. Let me finish this really quick.
No, yeah. That would probably be too much work for what it's worth in the end.
Because remember, this is just a form that we're filling out.
Right.
So,
If it's not there, it's not. You just
Yeah.
leave it empty.
um, okay.
Man, that. It's like I can speed up the way I code now just watching how often you copy and paste, and like I don't do that enough.
See, that's not bad.
No.
Now I just need line edits in there, and I need actual spacing, and this becomes pretty cool. I mean, it's a lot. Usually when I do a task, it's like, I just type in a thing, but then I have to talk to somebody a bunch about it.
Yeah.
But this is like, we're really getting it down to like, how do I, as quickly as humanly possible, do this?
And make it digestible for
Yeah.
us students here.
Yeah, exactly. It's super cool, dude. What I also think we're doing is we're also setting up for a film studio how I would tell them to get the most out of their developers.
Right.
Because right now, a lot of the times you've got a supervisor that wants stuff, but they don't know how to communicate that to the developers. 'Cause They don't
Right.
know how to manage developers. They don't
And-
know how to manage artists.
This right here
This does it.
is how you do that.
Yep. Yeah, this is getting really cool, actually.
It's incredible to me because a week ago, you probably weren't even thinking you were gonna need this in here, right?
Yeah. But it's like when you guys came, I'm like, okay, now I have interns, but I want to scale this.
Yeah.
And just watching you guys yesterday, I was like, oh, okay, to get them working effectively, we really got to do this.
You can see the eyes, like you were saying, you're watching the eyes. Some things it was like,
Yeah.
what are you looking for here?
Just going to add another stretch there, and then we'll put a specific thing right there. Just got to remember how to do it. And then I need line edits for every one of these. Ooh. Huh, I got a good idea. Maybe. Yeah, I got an idea of how to do this in like not a crazy way. But I need those line edits. That I don't want to line edit for. And attachments. Huh. Probably don't need. Alright. attachments. Okay, so I just thought of a thing though, like what's kind of cool is I could paste a link in here, hit enter, and then it pops up as the thing below it.
So like it say,
I'll show you an easy way to do this. I think we can knock this out in 10 minutes.
so it pops up below it. Do you mean?
Just watch.
I'm about to have my mind blown.
Add requirement. So what I need here is current requirement equals the requirement line edit. Okay, we're just going to do one example of this, and then I'll show you how you get it working. So we got the requirements line edit, and then self dot requirements line edit dot, I think it's enter clicked or something. Just the line edit, cool. So down here I've got return pressed. So every time we hit return pressed, we're going to do self dot this one. I also am going to need a message, so message dot alright, this is going to get a little bit crazy. So, requirements equals self dot this. Now I'm trying to go too fast because I'm really excited to prove this. What's interesting is this can become a function. It can become more of a global function. Add bullets. That's what I'm going to do. And then, oh, actually, ooh, no, I'm gonna have to make that more complicated. I know, I'll show you this next time, because this is cool, the way I can, like, do this. All right, so, current requirements equals self.message requirements, and then, so, what I'm going to do is, I think this will work. Let's see what happens. Okay, so turn pressed. Oh, geez, forgot basic things. Okay, so requirements. this requirement. Okay, so I'll just do this a little bit more properly.
Good old dot format.
Let's do this thing now. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh.
I think you need dot. Do you need the dot format?
Oh.
There you
We're getting there. I need to add the message to this right after that. So this is requirements. Now this should work. That's sweet. So requirements text. Am I doing this the wrong order? Yeah, that should be before that.
Nice.
So I mean, I got to do a little bit of work.
But
So like, we're going to set the text for the message to that. We're going to then clear that. So requirements line edit, set text. And then what I probably want to do as well is current text. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can sort of pseudo format it. That's kick-ass.
nice.
And then I just have to make it so that like, if current text so this is sort of like a poor man's version of what we want to do. Because we're literally just formatting a label.
Got you. So
Because there's fancier ways to do this with like layouts and stuff, but like I found this works pretty well.
nice.
Still getting a blank line in there, but I'll figure it out.
That looks good. That
It's
looks. I
super
see what
sweet.
you're. For a second, I was like, "What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing?" Especially when it printed out like the object itself and its address.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's super cool.
It's just amazing to me how productive it is having this space.
Yeah, dude.
Interact with
It's
each other.
awesome. It's awesome. Oh, wow, that was an hour and 20 minutes.